غرباء 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 غرباء.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to the season finale of Islam Means Peace. I'm your guest host, Basil Ahmed, and my guest today is someone you're familiar with. But before I introduce him, let's take a look at some of his previous work.
غرباء 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 كم تذكرنا زمانا يوم كنا سعداء بكتاب الله نتلوه صباحا ومساء.
Into my room and he'll be like, "So son, what do you want to be when you grow up?" I'm like, "Dad, I think I might want to be a rapper." He goes, "You want to be what?" "You want to be rapper?" Okay, son, you want to be gangster? You want to be doggy like Eminem? Okay, I will show you. I will make you up all the sandwiches this week. You will be a rapper. Very good.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام را تلك آيات الكتاب المبين إنا أنزلناه قرآنا عربيا لعلكم تعقلون. نحن نقص عليك أحسن القصص بما أوحينا إليك هذا القرآن وإن كنت من قبله لمن الغافلين. إذ قال يوسف لأبيه يا أبت إني رأيت أحد عشر كوكبا والشمس والقمر رأيتهم لي ساجدين. قال يا بني لا تقصص رؤياك على إخوتك فيكيدوا لك كيدا إن الشيطان للإنسان عدو مبين. وكذلك يجتبيك ربك ويعلمك من تأويل الأحاديث ويتم نعمته عليك وعلى آل يعقوب كما أتمها على أبويك من قبل إبراهيم وإسحاق إن ربك عليم حكيم.
Assalamu alaikum, Bilal.
Walaikum salam.
How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah, can't complain.
Alhamdulillah. So, how does it feel to be in the hot seat?
Wallahi, it feels pretty good. There isn't too much pressure. Inshallah, we'll be able to get through this. How does it feel to be on my seat?
Not bad. I mean, it's a change from directing, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, not too nervous.
Yeah, no, I'm alright.
Alhamdulillah.
So, we just looked, at clips of your previous work, and can you tell us a little bit about those?
Well, as you can see, I've done a lot of things in my 18 years. Some things I guess I regret. Some things not so much. I like to look upon with pride. But alhamdulillah, everything's a learning curve as well, I guess, and inshallah, just moving upwards and onwards.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so let's get into it. First, we're gonna start talking about your childhood.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us a little more about your upbringing, how you were raised, the values you were taught, and all of those things?
Yeah, no problem. So, I was born in 1997, just at the end of the 20th century. Yeah. And as I was growing up, of course, there was technology and that kind of thing, and I grew up in the VCR era, and my parents were very religious people. Still are. Alhamdulillah, I was blessed with two great parents, and they recorded a lot of religious programs for me, and because we were in the VCR era, it was a lot more controlled what your kids could consume.
Yeah.
So I was watching a lot of religious programming, even like the cartoons and stuff. I was watching, there were educational programs, so I was learning the Arabic alphabet, the English alphabet. I was learning stuff about the religion, that kind of thing, just basic stuff, how to make wudu, how to pray, that kind of thing. And my parents got me into the religion very young, even though you don't even have to pray until you're 7 years old. When I was a kid, because my mum or dad were praying, I would go pray with them. My dad would always take me with him to the mosque. So alhamdulillah, I can't complain about the way I was brought up. My parents were always giving 110% into raising me to be the best child or the best person that I could be. From the age of 3, I was doing a bit of, I wouldn't call it stand-up comedy because I didn't really know what stand-up comedy was, but I used to imitate like a bunch of radio personalities. There was one in particular that I used to imitate, and I used to go on stage at weddings and that kind of thing and perform. And my dad did this deliberately. He got me on stage from a very young age because he's very camera shy. He loves to record, but he's shy when it comes to being in front of the camera. So he didn't want me to be like that. Of course, parents always want their kids to be better than them.
Yeah, of course.
So he always got me in front of the camera from a very young age. So yeah, I was doing that, and I was very comfortable on the microphone, in front of the camera, in front of a crowd, which is very important. Leading into, inshallah, what we're going to get into, my later years. So from that age, it was a bit of a building block. So I did that when I was around 3, 4, 5, maybe 6. And then when I started school and I got into that, I wouldn't say have time for it because primary school isn't that busy, but I guess I just didn't do as much of it as I used to. But then when it came to like Eritrean camps and that kind of thing, I still did a bit of nasheed singing and that kind of thing whenever I got the chance, basically. Yeah. And I was also learning a lot of Quran, alhamdulillah, because of my parents. My father and my mother taught me, sometimes together, sometimes separately, and I went to Arabic school as well, Quran schools, and so I guess I was a bit, wouldn't say distracted because it was very good, but I didn't really have time to do the nasheeds and that kind of thing at that age.
Okay.
But I guess, yeah.
There are a lot of challenges, obviously, with growing up in a country like Australia,
course,
as opposed to maybe growing up somewhere in a Muslim country. So, I mean, what are some of the challenges that you faced in your childhood and that you've had to overcome?
Actually, there were a lot. Growing up, I guess my dad kind of liked to shelter me from anything that could cause me any kind of fitna, any kind of pollution in the mind, I guess. Yeah. So he wouldn't really let me watch shows that had like I would say romantic interaction between males and females, whether they were cartoons or real people. He would, and because I lived in Carlton and it was a small house, so most of the times when my mum was in the kitchen, she could see what I was watching on the television in the living room. So I didn't really get away with much. So so I was I guess I was very sheltered when it came to that, alhamdulillah. But then as I grew up and of course gained access to the internet and other TV channels, and when we moved into a bigger house and I had a little bit more freedom, I guess, and you're kind of out of the shade of the umbrella. I guess that's where you really have to start controlling what you watch, and you have to actually be mindful of yourself, because of course your parents can't watch over you forever. So that's where it got hard.
Okay, so coming back to the nasheeds that you were talking about earlier, I mean, you started off doing nasheeds, and then I guess let's say you veered off and you went into music. So can you just tell us a little more about that and how the transition happened exactly?
Well, So yeah, as you saw in the clips earlier, I was doing the sheets. I was performing at weddings, uh, like just like when I was a kid. I was performing at charity events, a lot of charity events. My dad works for Human Appeal, so I was performing at a lot of his charity events. And at that point, it was actually a very good point in my life, a point that I wish I could go back to actually, where I was performing with a group of my closest friends, and we were going around, sometimes even being paid to perform, and we performed even one time with Zayn Bika, an international nasheed artist
Yeah.
from South Africa, and yeah, we were doing pretty well. Performed at Sounds of Light 2011. Did a bunch of entertainment nights by Youth Victoria. Alhamdulillah, it was going pretty well, and my dad was very proud of me, and my mum was very proud as well. And I guess I felt like I was doing good with my life, and then it got to a point around year 10, where the other boys in the group weren't really up for it anymore, and I found myself doing it more and more by myself. I was slowly losing members of the group, until at one point I I was kind of alone in my nasheed endeavors.
Yeah.
And at that point, I guess when I tried writing my own stuff, I found there wasn't, because I was, I guess, young and naive. I found that there wasn't as much of an opportunity to write about Islam and that kind of thing, without getting too political or something. I don't know. I just so I guess I decided to start writing about my life, and then from there, I started writing about other people. I started writing about other problems I had that were completely non-religious, non-Islamic, and
So going back to the point you said about the falling out of the group, would you say that was a key moment or the turning point that led you from nasheeds to go down the path of music?
I would say that, yeah, because I guess when someone is isolated, then you have more freedom to write your own stuff. I guess if you want strong enough in your faith, which I wasn't at that time, admittedly, you can veer down the wrong path. So when I was writing about myself and people that relate to me specifically, and issues that relate to me, I found myself kind of going down the wrong path and going about it the wrong way, and not, that doesn't only refer to the use of musical instruments. I mean the lyrics
Yeah.
and the way I was dressing and the kind of shows I was doing, and the kind of people I was associating with, and the kind of collaborations I was getting into. That definitely started changing slowly, and actually started becoming someone that I didn't even recognize, because I was growing up. I was used to growing up in a Muslim household, and with proper values and etiquette instilled in me. I wasn't really used to being, someone that's ready to get into the music industry or something. But then all of a sudden, I just, transformed, and it was a stage in my life that I do, as I said, some stages I regret, and that is a stage I definitely regret, and I wish I could take back, but of course you can't, and I would like
But
to
I
use it.
mean, you learn from these experiences.
You do. I'd like to use it as a learning curve, and I'd like to even say to other people that are thinking about going down that path, or are actually down the path already, that it is a very, very dangerous path. And very quickly I went from a person that was just interested in speaking their mind to a person that was willing to do anything just to get famous, or just to, I started seeing the people like 50 Cent and people like Eminem and stuff. I saw them as the pinnacle of what I could be, instead of seeing like the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, or Umar, as the people that I would like to strive to be like.
Yeah, you start idolizing the wrong people, and
Exactly,
that's
that's
when
exactly
you
right.
know that you've gone away from the straight path. So I mean, it's definitely important to point out that people plays a big part in their life who they idolize, and you have to be very cautious when you idolize a specific person, because it reflects on who you are too.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean it's a very important point.
yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
So I mean that happened, but alhamdulillah, you were able to get back into your faith. You were able to strengthen your faith again. and then you started doing spoken word. So
Yeah.
can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So the way that I found my way back to Islam, actually something that a friend once told me, a very wise friend once told me, is it is very possible to be born a Muslim and find your way back to the religion.
Yeah.
So the way that I found my way back was something that was completely out of my control. I was praying tahajjud, which is the night prayer in Ramadan.
Yeah.
It's around 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was just praying behind the imam, and I was reading Surah Yusuf, the surah that you see in the clip at the start of this episode.
Yeah.
And he was reading Surah Yusuf, and I was listening to it, and the words just spoke to me, and Surah Yusuf isn't particularly a sad surah, because it is the story of the Prophet Yusuf, but I felt like I was crying. I was brought to tears, and I didn't understand why. And then when we went down to sujood, I basically felt like that was a turning point in my life. Like I felt that was the moment that I was like, that's it. I can't do the rapping. I can't live this life. Like, and I'm not just talking about the rap music. I'm talking about everything that goes along with it. I'm talking about the attitude. I'm talking about the dress code. I'm talking about the friends you associate with. I'm talking about the habits you start to pick up, and all of it. I just couldn't do anymore. And at that moment in my life, I knew that this is only ending one way. It's only ending in me ending up in hellfire if I don't change my path. So that's when I knew I had to change. And then after that, I think it was a day after, or maybe 2 days after, I announced on Facebook that I was no longer doing rapping or anything, and I also announced in the same post that I will be turning my attention to spoken word poetry, and that's what I'm doing now. Other than obviously Islam Means Peace and everything else to do with Lunar Productions and my studying and my work, I'm focusing all my attention on spoken word poetry, and I'm trying to spread a positive message again, and I'm trying to right the wrongs of the little 14-15-year-old boy that got lost and thought that you couldn't write about anything other than what's on your mind that deviates away from faith and religion. Yeah. I'm trying to write about maybe like some pieces about what's happening in the world of politics, some things about what's happening to young Muslims, other pieces maybe about Judgment Day or other stuff like that. Inshallah, we'll just have to wait and see. But
And I mean, like, we had Muslim Bilal on the show a couple of episodes ago, and I mean, the spoken word is really a great platform.
Yeah.
I mean, he's from London in the United Kingdom, but he performed here in Australia. He performs everywhere around the world, and although he doesn't have the music or the attitude of the rap, the lifestyle,
Yeah.
but because of the powerful words that he speaks, it really sends a great message. And I mean, he's had an impact on so many different people.
Yeah.
So
That is a great example. Yeah. Muslim Bilal is a very, very good example of someone who obviously had a much darker past than I have, but he came back from it, and he's back better than ever, and he's actually doing things that he could be proud of, and that on the Day of Judgment, they could actually act as witnesses for him, and his words can come back and say, he actually used us for good.
absolutely, yeah.
And that's a very good example, and I guess someone like him is someone I do look up to now.
Yeah.
And it was very, very good having him on the show, alhamdulillah. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do with my spoken word as well.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. So now let's get on to the show, obviously. So we spoke about everything that I guess we can say led up to this point. I mean, all those experiences, all those trials, all those challenges, they sort of built up and they brought you to where you are today. And so tell us about Islam Means Peace, the idea, the project, what you hope to achieve with it, what are some of the goals that you may have reached or the goals you're trying to reach. So,
well, the whole goal with Islam Means Peace, it's basically my favorite thing to do now, doing this show. I'm going to miss it when the season ends.
yeah.
The goal with Islam Means Peace is to spread the message of Islam as it was supposed to be spread, a message of peace, a message that cannot be forced down anyone's throat. It can't be. There's no taking over a country, or any of those things that the propaganda being spread.
Yeah.
We're trying to break down stereotypes. We're trying to basically we're just showing people who we really are.
Yeah.
And although, like, with that being said, we're not apologizing for anything that people are saying in the name of doing in the name of Islam, because we're telling you that it's 100% false. And I guess people can just, as I said to the brother in Street Talk, people will associate anything with anyone they want, you know.
Yeah.
Like I could go do something now and say, oh, I did this because of so and so. Doesn't make that person responsible for what I did just because I associated with them. Basically, what I'm trying to do, hosting the show, and what you're trying to do, directing the show, is basically just break down those stereotypes and just show people that, you know, we are fun-loving people, and we're just like everyone else, and our faith doesn't make us, you know, whatever the media says we are.
Yeah, it doesn't make us any different. I mean, we have pretty much all the experiences that everyone else goes through. I mean, we try and live our life following our beliefs and our religion.
Exactly.
And our religion teaches us peace, to love others, you know, to be respectful towards other people regardless of their faith.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like you said, what's being done in the name of Islam is obviously not actually, I mean, Islam condemns it, definitely, for sure. But I don't feel that, or we don't feel that Muslims have to apologize for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what I'm trying to do with the show. And what we're trying to achieve in the future, inshallah, is, of course, we're trying to get a bigger fan base. Just people spreading the message that we're trying to spread, even if it's through your own videos or through your own Facebook posts or Twitter posts or Instagram posts or whatever. We just want people to basically carry on what we're doing, sharing our videos around, doing whatever they can to get in on the good deeds as well. You know, we want to share the good deeds with everyone else, and inshallah we're getting good deeds for doing what we're doing. And inshallah in future Islam Means Peace just gets bigger and better. Yeah,
definitely. That's the goal, bigger and better.
Inshallah.
Yeah. So I mean, Islam Means Peace for me. When you offered for me to join into this project and to be a part of it, I was more than happy to be a part of it. But I think the message was the key point, is that everyone has these platforms, the social media, but rarely do we use them, you know, for the right reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we share all the jokes and all the funny things that we see and all of that, but we never actually think about how we can make a difference with it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and I mean, a retweet or a like can make a huge difference to someone.
Yeah, or a share or anything.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I definitely agree with you about the message, and especially our goal in Lunar Productions and with Islam Means Peace.
Yeah. And alhamdulillah, man, it's been a good season, been a productive season. We've done everything we've set our mind to, and inshallah
I mean, there were challenges.
There were challenges.
Definitely, but
there were challenges getting a hold of people, you know.
Yeah, chasing down people, you know,
but
trying to get everything to work.
That's what you have to do in the media industry as a journalist. That's what I'm going to be doing a lot of, inshallah. We'll take a look at the best moments of this season, and after that, inshallah, we'll wrap up. I've heard your Chris Tucker impersonation.
Hey, don't tell nobody, Bilal, man. Don't tell nobody, man. Islam Means Peace. Don't tell nobody. Right?
That's good. Can you give us a dab? Give me that line for Friday. Damn.
Hey, you know what? It's Friday. We ain't going to our jobs because we going to Juma.
That's good, man. Alright, last question. I've seen you end this on a funny note. I've seen you do Elmo.
You saw that?
Yeah, I saw that. I want you to do Elmo for that.
And I was just saying that it's so good to be on the Bilal Ali show.
I never had something to follow. I used to live life sort of like a rebel, cowboy, just living recklessly, living life as if there was no consequences. Islam has given me peace. Islam has changed the heart, and my heart has become very soft in terms of things that I would participate in, people that I had anger towards in the past, and of course I'm still a person that's in taking steps to still become a better Muslim, but at the same time, Islam has gave me a comfort that I couldn't explain to someone who is not Muslim.
Like, if you now go outside and punch someone over there in the head, and somebody comes up to me and goes, "Do you condemn your Somali brothers for their actions?" Yeah, man, you shouldn't have punched him in the head.
Yeah.
But then they go, "Okay, so apologise on the behalf of your Somalis." I'm not apologising, I didn't punch anybody in the head. It's the same thing, like, why am I going to say, I'm not Somali anymore, look what that brother did, I cannot be Somali. You know, it doesn't make sense. The same way, like, Islam is your way of life. Now in the media, people are going to be shotgunning the deen. Like, literally, people are going to be giving the worst media, the worst propaganda. But it's about really understanding we don't have to fight for anything. We just show our Islam through our actions. It's the thing. Islam is the path to peace. Like, if you're really understanding it, like, people will look at you and be like, "Yo, man, all Muslims can't be crazy." Because I know Ahmed, or I know Abdullah. Yeah, Abdullah, man, he's easy. Like, he talks to me politely. He's never rude to me. He's never disrespectful. You know what? He even takes the time out to ask if I'm okay. You know, he's my neighbor. He always comes, checks if everything's all right with me. You know, he always takes the time to stop. How's your day been? If you ever need anything, Abdullah will be there. It's about showing you kill them with love. This is the thing. Love is what destroys all obstacles.
So my message to those youngsters that are still doing those things, I understand you, but I also want to say don't run towards the life that people like myself are running away from. Learn from those who came before you, because we understand you. But you shouldn't have to learn from your own mistakes. You should learn from those who came before you. And if you was born a Muslim especially, understand the value of that gift you was blessed with, of being a Muslim. And people like us had to search for it. One of my brothers, Massacre, said, "I found Islam like an African digging for diamonds." You had to search for it and find it. You was blessed with it from birth, given this gem. Now that you have this gem, this Islam, what are you going to do with it?
When I was in school, trying to impress non-Muslims, yet, trying to be who you are, and you're very conflicted within yourself. So it was extremely difficult, and it was some of the toughest times in my life.
Yeah, it is pretty hard. You're trying to fit in, but also you're trying to be your own self at the same time. And
Yeah.
So what do you know about Islam?
I live in a predominantly white area, so I don't know a whole lot, but I do like to think of myself as well kind of learned in that kind of area.
Very little, pretty much nothing. I know that it's a religion.
Yeah, you know that it's a religion?
Yeah.
Not much, to be honest. I'm not very religious myself, but I know that the public eye is being changed to look at them differently.
Yeah.
In my eyes, it's just a bit confusing. Yeah.
It's a religion.
Yep.
What do I know about it? Yeah, they've got the Quran, which is like their Bible.
Yep.
They got Ramadan, and I really don't know that much about it, I guess. Yeah.
But do you know that it's a religion of peace, and it's not obviously how the media portrays it to be?
Yeah.
Oh, like the bad stuff, really.
Yeah.
Not really any good stuff about it.
Yeah.
Just what the news shows us.
Yeah. Well, that is a negative propaganda that we're here to clear, man. So basically Islam is just a religion of peace. Basically, we're taught that we're not allowed to kill any innocent people. Yeah, that's completely against the religion. If you do kill any innocent people, you go straight to hell. So basically, everything that's happening in the name of Islam is false. So people would associate anything with like anyone they want to.
So this is it. I mean, this is it for this episode and for this season of Islam Means Peace. But would you like to say anything?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everyone that's watched, subscribed, liked, commented, anything just to support us. Please continue to do so even after we finish up. And inshallah we will be back with season 2, and inshallah we'll be bigger and better. and we'll see you then, inshallah. That's all we have time for. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
غرباء ولغير الله لا نحمل الجبال غرباء ورتضيناها شعارا للحياة